Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys some of my first tournament games in the SSOU DLC2 Crown Tundra metagame. I figured it'd be fun to show you guys some of these games. It's for a tournament called CPL, and it's been really fun playing for this tournament so far. I'm actually in the best of 3 tiers, so I play these guys. I'm against Trade, I'm against Rap Yogurt, and I'm against Raj00, and I play all of them in a best of 3 of Gen 8, Gen 7, and Gen 6. Right now I'm just bringing you guys to Gen 8 games because A, Gen 8 was the only tier I got to play in all 3 series since I won 2 of the Series 2-0, spoiler alert, and B, I also feel like you guys are really more interested in this than seeing other generations, but if you guys want to see Generation 6 and 7, I'm going to be bringing you guys some Smogon Tour playoff content, which is the same format, and it's going to be coming in weeks, potentially days ahead of us, so definitely stay tuned for that. I'm going to try and bring you guys all of my series. I'm actually against Solowint, who's probably one of the 4 or 5 best players of all time, so it's going to be a really heavyweight fight round 1. We're 2 great players, so it's going to be super exciting to see that, but also I'm going to be bringing some other series as well, depending on when they're happening, when I'm available, so yeah, but regardless, let's get into this. So my first game here, I'm against Trade. I'm using a team that you guys saw me use in a YouTube live, at least the same 6, slightly different sets and EVs, but that's fine. I just adjusted it because now some things got banned. Obviously, Kieran Black's gone. I'm using Melmetal, Zarude, Offensive Zapdos, Toxic Spikes, Toxic Specs, a Life Orb, Garchomp, and a Dragapult. He's using a team with Regieleki, Cinderace, Slowbro, Urshifu, Excadrill, and Clef. Now, I notice I'm a little bit weaker than Urshifu than I'd like. I do have Rocky Helmet, Physically Defensive Packs, plus a Dark Resist, but if it's a non-twist Urshifu, I'm going to be in for a world of hurt. So I know I have to be careful right off the bat. I also knew that a Zen Headbutt Cinderace could 2-kill my entire team, so I have to be careful around that. And I also have to preserve Chomp's health at all costs, otherwise Regieleki absolutely owns me. So I know there are some constraints to this matchup, coupled with the fact that a Toxic or Rock Slide Excadrill could be super threatening, but there are some good things. I don't think any single Clefable set can really do super well against me. Flamethrower can potentially do well against Melmetal, but it can't beat Pex, and Thunderbolt. Vice versa, I can't do well against Melmetal, but it can do well against Peck, so I know that that's fine, and also he might be a Stealth Rock Clefable, so get that out in my head. I know Offensive Zapdos looks pretty good against him once they get some chip on Excadrill, and all in all, I think I'm pretty okay with this matchup. I don't love it, but I know I can win. I just have to really contain Urshifu and figure out the Cinderace set ASAP, and also I've got to avoid letting the wrong things take future sets. As for my matchup offensively, I know Offensive Zapdos against it as well. Garchomp looks amazing. Any chip on that Slowbro, and I should be able to kill it with Earthquake into Draco Meteor. In addition, the rest of the team gets 2-killed by Earthquake, especially if it's not a max defensive Clefable. I do have to watch out for more max defensive Clefable though, but if it is that, then Zarude can oftentimes trade with it, because Zarude is also another thing that it's not going to be able to win the game outright, because it's going to get revenge killed by Urshifu that's a full health living a +1 power up, or Cinderace, as long as I'm not like +2 or +3 defense, or even potentially Regieleki if I'm below half, but it's really good at trading, so if I could trade with Clefable, that'd be amazing. So let's get into the game real quick here. Right off the bat, I see that Toxic Spikes look pretty good against Regieleki and Urshifu, so I lead with Pex, and I also have that covers leading against Urshifu. So I know right off the bat he's not going to risk a burn or a knockoff if he's bandings and he can't break through me, so therefore I just go for Toxic Spikes, he goes Slowbro. And that's actually great because I could get a knockoff of the boots on it, and then I can make it take Toxic Spike damage. He goes for Future Sight here, and I go Zapdos, and I can take that pretty comfortably. He teleports into Clefable, which A, gets poisoned, which is good for my Hex, and B, it's great because if he's physically defensive, I 2-kill with Hurricane, but unfortunately there I miss, he knocks me off, and then I take 42% for Future Sight, but that's fine. I get a Roost off on the following turn, which is good for me as he sits a proc, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a Hurricane off just to see the damage. I do 51 there, which, yeah, it pretty much confirms it's a good chance to kill. Unfortunately there, he switches out though, because he knows there's a good chance, he knows I'm offensive. I get another one to drill though for a nice 28% there, and I'm like, okay, I live a Rock Slide here, and I'm fairly certain he doesn't even have it, because he doesn't really mind like Zapdos and Moltres done with this team. So I just roost as he goes for spin. He gets paralyzed with static, which is helpful to me because it's another thing that Dragapult can now hack. So all of a sudden, it looks pretty good here. I get a Defog off myself, and he's back up to near full, but I'm sitting pretty. I know Scout for the Toxic, and I get my Pex in, so all of a sudden, I've definitely got a little more lucky there. I've been able to avoid the Toxic and the Zapdos, but yeah, I get a knockoff, and the Clefable gets it leftovers knocked off, which is fine with me. Nice to Toxic Spikes up because that'll be able to hit things like the Slowbro, and I bring my Melmetal in promptly knowing he's not going to go for knockoff, he's going to go for rocks, and all I do here is I just go for Double Iron Bash solely to force the Slowbro in to take the poison. So now again, everything looks really good against Hex Dragapult. So speaking of Hex Dragapult, I bring it in here on a teleport. He brings in Cinderace, which surprises me a little bit. I go Thunderbolt just in case, a Thunder Wave in case he suckers, but he just goes for the Pyro Ball, which makes some sense. I really don't want to risk Sucker Punch though. So I just go to my Pex here. I don't know if he went for it or not. I'm assuming he did. I just doubled him a metal here. He goes U-turn. I was thinking he might switch out just in case he doesn't want to like get knocked off, but that's fine. He just brings the slow bro back. I'm totally chill with that. At this point, I don't see a point in risking my metal, so I just go Zarude, and he goes for the teleport. He brings in the Clef, and I'm like, okay, I can't 1v1 in this position with rocks up, but I can go Zapdos to get the rocks off, because I've already spread poison well. And Moonblast is only doing 29, no drop, so he's going to go back to Drill, which interesting. That's fine, I'm just good roosting, and at this point, I think I was okay letting it take a Toxic. I don't remember if I did though, I don't think I did. Yeah, I think I went to Zarude here, just knowing that's the best play. And he got fully powered. He probably would have been going for Toxic there, so that's another little opening that I got. Lets me go for bulk up here instead of jungle healing, which is huge, because now if I hit 2 power whips, I 1v1 the Clef. As you see there, at first with the 62, Moonblast is only going to be doing 56. It's funny, Moonblast does even less than the +1 power whip, despite Moonblast being super effective, and I take it out with the second hit, so yeah, that's a great position. I'm not half health with my Zarude, and I took that out, and it forces Regieleki into revenge kill me. I go right to guard jump here, as he just goes for the Thunderbolt, and needless to say there, I can't really do much against me. In addition, getting that power wave off the Cinderace means that once I heal up Zarude a little bit, he can't actually revenge kill me with the Cinderace because it's paralyzed. So I actually get the Earthquake off, and because of that chip, I'm able to put the Slowbro in Draco range after the Toxic Spike. So yeah, just all going perfectly according to plan. And here he goes to Shifu to try and revenge kill me. I just go Pex to see what he does. He locks into Wicked Blow, which is fine with me because he takes Helmet, he takes Poison, and he's already at 70% health. Now I can go Zapdos and let go of that, as it's fairly useless at this point in the game. And if Wicked Blow does take me out, of course, he's a Choice Banded, which is unsurprising. I can now go Zarude, and I could just spam jungle healing, and he elects to go to Cinderace, which is the smart play, but I get healed all the way up to 70%, which is amazing. And now I feel like I can't really lose this game. I go Dragon Pulp into Cinderace just because I feel like he turns his play, because he probably doesn't have Zen Headbutt at this point. And he goes Regieleki, which that's totally fine with me as well. He's probably going to go ahead and double out. Now, here's my thought process here. He's probably going to go ahead and double out predicting the Guard Chomp, because he can't touch the Guard Chomp. Or he's going to go for Rapid Spin, just because get the Toxic Spike off, although it doesn't really help him, but like at least it hits Chomp. Because he can't really do anything against Chomp. So he's probably going to double out something to take advantage of that. And Urshifu might be that play, Cinderace might be that play, or maybe he just throws in the Talbot. Either way, I don't need Dragapult anymore at this point. So instead of risking Guard Jump to some like errant double switch, I just go for the Hex here, and I connect against Urshifu double switch, and while I did crit it, it would have died after poison anyway, so it's fine. He goes Cinderace here, I Hex, just knowing he's not going to Sucker Punch, he Pyro Balls and takes me out. That point is just like, yeah, he's just over predicting, so yeah, and then funnily enough, he actually reveals he does have to Sucker Punch, so yeah, that works. He gets a crit, but that's all fine with me. I get a Darkest Lair off, and I take it out. And now I'm looking really good, as I still have Guard Jump in the back. He does go Regieleki here, and he actually goes for the Ancient Power, and it gets the boost, which is super funny. But I get a Darkest Lair, and that obviously hits through the boost. So that was a pretty funny ending to the game. And yeah, no, so at the end of the day, offensive Regieleki does really poor against ground types. Can't really do anything. So, unsurprisingly, it was able to kind of be a liability from there, and it was really enabled my sweep with Zarude and my offensive presence with Garchomp, and I was able to win that game against Trade. Seems like he played a solid game, though. Definitely just a rough matchup there with the Regieleki versus the ground type and all that. So yeah, anyway, off into the next game. Now we have against Rap. So he's actually using the sample team that Ruff built. It has Slowking, Buzzwole, Moltres, Dracozolt, plus Sand. So it's pretty cool. You get Sand Rush there. Tyranitar and Drill, of course, to round the team out. I was using a pretty fun team. This tournament wasn't the most serious for me, but also I just wanted to use Rain. And unfortunately, I ran into what kind of felt like a nightmare matchup, not going to lie. Not only has he the ability to change the weather zone, but also he's got a Dracozolt, which completely stops me. A mixed Dracozolt just it one-shots everything on my team, basically. So it just looks bleak. He has the ability to change weather, plus once he changes the weather, he has something that's faster than everything that kills everything in one shot. Coupled with the fact that he's got a Buzzwole in this batting game, which should do really well against Barraskewda and my Garchomp. I was actually Swords Dance, Aqua Tail, Scale Shot, Garchomp. So yeah. But looking at the matchup, I know there are some good things. Tornadus T is Nasty Plot, so it could really just pick against this team if it's accurate, emphasis on if. And Portagon should be able to trick the Tyranitar at least. So I'm like, okay, let's see what I can do here. He lives entirely Portagon. I want to trick it to right off the bat. I want to lure it in to trick it worst case, and I do that, so that's great. Sandatar is locked into rock, so I could go teleport and get the switch initiative. However, I teleport, I'm like, wait a minute. It's in sand, so I actually have to go Pelipper to get sand off, and I'm like baited to go for Dracozolt, Bolt Beak, and Ferrothorn. So I go Ferrothorn here, hoping he doesn't Fire Blast, it still do a lot. And I get Ferrothorn in on Slowking, I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. So I can get rocks up here as he teleports. And he goes Tar, I'm like, okay, that's fine with me. I know this Tar isn't a fire move, and even if it is, I live a fire move. Getting a power up off of it would be amazing. And he goes for Ice Beam, predicting me to go Chomp, but he doesn't know that I know it's a sample team. But he gets a freeze, and that kills me because it would have been almost dead to Power Whip, which would have been amazing for me, but it's fine. Yeah, so I stay frozen here as he goes Dracozolt. I'm like, okay, this is a problem. I go Chomp on the Fire Blast here, and then I go right back to Ferrothorn on the Draco Meteor, knowing that if I get any of these turns wrong, the game basically ends on the spot. But thankfully, I tiptoe around it just well enough. Draco only does 18 to Pharaoh, so I'm kind of in the clear now. It's a specially defensive Ferrothorn after all. And I stay in here predicting him to switch out, and he goes Moltres, and I get a knockoff on it, and thank God I don't get Flame Body burned. That's really helpful to me now. So I'm in a great position now, I'd say, relative to where I was before. I go Guard Chomp, he goes Air Slash, only does 34. I'm like, okay, that's fine with me. I go Aqua Tail here, I do 60, and I get burnt, which is a huge problem. But he defogs, which I find bizarre. But I know he can preserve this. He could come in on Ferrothorn every time he just roost up. Even if he doesn't have boots, he just comes in on the rock. So I'm like, okay, there's no way he's going to let this go. And he's probably just going to go Buzzwole or Slow King, because Buzzwole makes the most sense, in particular because it just walls on this no matter what. And he's in range of the next Aqua Tail 100%. So I just double the turn HT, but he lets this go. He would have just let it die to Aqua Tail, which I can't say I really understand, because if I get Ferrothorn's rocks up in the long haul, that would be his only way he could lose this matchup. But alright, that's fine. I get a Nasty Plot up there, I get a Flamethrower, and he burns, which makes it a 2KO, which is a huge problem. So now it's just like, okay, I'm getting pretty unlucky. He goes Tar, and I hit a Hurricane, I crit a Hurricane, but that's irrelevant because I also Focus Blast. He's not Chopple Berry, so it just would come down to if I hit the Focus Blast or not. And thankfully I do. So I take that out of the way. In a 6-5 position now, but he can go Dracozolt, and I've got a Dance again. So I go Guard Chomp here, predicting the Bolt Peak. Now I'm like, okay, well, maybe I just let this go. He goes Earthquake. I wish I went Pelipper, but I didn't want Pelipper to take a Draco, so yeah. Now I go Pelipper here, and I gotta go right back to Ferrothorn and hope to God, or I gotta stay in and hope to God that he flips it around. But I just let go to Pelipper here. I figured he would go for the Fire Blast, predicting the Ferrothorn. He went for the Bolt Peak, but not all is lost, because now he can't get Stand Up, so he can't sweep me at least, so you just get one kill at a time. So I go for the Try Attack, and actually lets it go there, so now we're in a 4-4 position. Still doesn't look great. He goes Slow King, and I go Ferrothorn, hoping not get burnt. He goes Scald, and thankfully, no burn on this. So, again, not all hope is lost, just a little bit of hope. I get Rocks up here as he brings Moltres in. I'm like, okay, Barraskewda is super free against this. That's amazing. He's probably going to roost if he wants to come in, but he goes for the Flamethrower, and not only does he hit, he gets the burn. Obviously, it hits, but he gets the burn, which is a super big problem because he's specially defensive Slow King, so it actually 2KO'd like his whole team, basically. So that's lame, but he does let the Moltres go, so it's rocks. So I'm like, okay, 4-3 position, but Slow King is a major problem to me now. Scald, and thank God, no burn. Although if I get a knockoff and some spikes up, then I might actually have a chance regardless. He goes Buzzwole here, and I get up Power Whip. I was trying to hit the Slow King in case he stayed in, but unfortunately didn't quite work out. He goes Buzzwole, and now I think he makes a really big misplay here. He goes Bulk Up, and instead of going back to Slow King, or even to the damn Drill, and then the Slow King, the Focus Blast, he lets it stay in and dives to the Hurricane. So that's super helpful to me, and now I'm actually back in a winning position all over again. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that. I just go ahead and fire off the Barraskewda here. He Scalds. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I really just don't want to let go. I Liquidation just to try and get a drop for Power Up threatening this, making Power Up more threatening. You know, I figure he might just slack off, so I go Pharaoh. He actually goes Scald, which is a good play on his part. But even if I get burnt at this point, I'm in a really good spot because I just have to hit a Hurricane or two. So yeah, but he Power Ups and I just get it down, and that's that. He lets go with the Slow King because I like the Drill get switching anyway, and the Drill on this team, it's not Sword Dance plus Rapid Spin. He's got Defog Moltres, so yeah, he can't actually sweep me here. Barraskewda can revenge stuff to the Power Whip, and that's that. He actually Rock Slides to try and flinch me down, I guess, and he gets it. Now Earthquake is in range to kill me. Although Earthquake killed regardless because it's special defensive, but he didn't know that, I guess, so. Yeah, if he calced the Draco damage, he would have known, but I guess he just didn't do that. So yeah, either way, Liquidation takes him out, and that's the game. So yeah, Triple advanced to 2-0 in SS, and I also won both the series against Trade and the series against Trap Yogurt. Now we're into the third game against Raj00, and his team is something really crazy. I was like, oh damn, it's like some weird Trigger Room with like an offensive Dragonite, and Dragonite as a coverage to completely demolish my team. Comment Finny with Taunt also does really well against my team too. So I'm just like, okay, well this looks kind of bleak, especially since my switching to Magnezone is predicting around it every single time. So I knew I had my hands full here, but I also knew that he kind of lacked a great deal of defensive measures to things like Metal and also my Guard Chomp. And as rude was the win condition once I get some chip on his Dragonite. So Some pros, some cons. Overall, I was pretty scared because I didn't know what to do against somebody's Pokemon, and I had to kind of think outside the box. But this is just a good game that kind of exhibits that. So he leads Crest, I lead Chomp. I'm like, okay, I don't want to take an Ice Beam. I don't want to take like any crap from him like a trick. So I just go to my packs here. Fully while I live a +1 psychic move. He Calm Minds, and I could go for a Haze. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Worst case scenario, like an offensive psychic still doesn't kill +1. It's a freaking Crest. So I get a knockoff here. And he goes for Toxic Spikes because every single SS game now is Toxic Spikes. You know the drill. Now he goes Crest, and I just go to Zapdos, just trying to loop switch back into the packs and take the Toxic Spikes soaking. Yeah, he goes Calm Mind. I'm like, okay, so show me what you got offensively, my guy. He goes Stored Power at a +1 to a physically defensive pack slot at 38. So I'm like, yeah, okay, that's not a threat. I go Dragon Ball here, and he goes Calm Mind. I'm like, okay, even if he's Moonblast, +1 Moonblast is only doing like 65-70% tops, and I don't actually need this health. I get a full power there, which is helpful though. Take that, I U-turn there, and I get the Melmetal in. So I can actually 1v1 it. He gets powered again, but at this point, he can't do more than like 8% that Melmetal at +1. So yeah, he goes Packs, and I go Earthquake predicting that. Like, okay, since I knocked it off the item already, I might as well just go for Tukio. He recovers. I do 49% with Earthquake, and now he goes back to Crest on another Earthquake. So yeah, okay, he made a good play there. I predict him to go back to Pex or try to go to Magnezone to trap me. Get another Earthquake there into Finny. And unfortunately here, I overpredict as he goes Whirlpool. Now, Whirlpool is somewhat predictable because it seems kind of weak to Pex. But yeah, I go Earthquake. That's fine though, because given Earthquake damage, Double Iron Bash is a roll in my favor. So he goes Nature's Badness, and I take him out. But the issue is, yeah, actually it was funny. I get Absolute Min and Max, and the next time it was like a 60-40 roll, I believe. So I'll take that. But now he goes Magnezone. I'm like, okay, Specs Magnezone can actually kill me with Thunderbolt, so that's lame. Now, the good news is here that while it does take me out, I can get Garchomp in, and I can claim my rocks, so that's very helpful as he goes back to Cresselia, which of course he can build a wall with Garchomp because it's not like a Swords Answer, it's just a mixed attacker, so yeah. I go Zarude though, knowing that even a +1 Moonblast isn't going to be able to kill me with leftovers, so I just go Darkest Lair just to see what it does. It does 39, and yeah, +1 Moonblast does 51 after leftovers. It's never Tukioing, so I'm like, okay, I'm sitting pretty here. And he goes Pex defensively here, and I don't think that makes any sense because he had like an offensive chance of winning the game. So now I'm able to heal up, and I'm able to get some bulk ups up. Worst case scenario, he could like knock off my leftovers, but it turns out later that he's Scald. Scald Haste, yeah, so I'm fine just going for broke here. I'm slowly healing up my Zarude. He's negating the progress he made. I made my progress already, so I'm in a great spot here. He Scalds, and now I just Darkest Lair. It does 20% into 41 there, and this is like a physically defensive, heavy-duty boots Dragon Dance, Dragonite, I guess. So what happens here is he goes for Dragon Dance as I hit him, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to die to a +1 dual wing beat, so I go to my Dragon Bolt knowing it's defensive, so yeah, I'm able to live it, and he should be slower than me, some plus speed, max speed, so I just go for Hex, just making sure, but he goes Bliss, and I'm like, okay, so now I've weakened everything. Zarude just wins the game. So what happens here is he goes Rocks, I go Power Whip, I miss, just it's a matter of PP stone a little bit. He goes Magnezone at +1, I took Yo it, and yeah, now I just take good games. The game's basically over, and I could just basically long haul. Zarude wins the game. It just takes a little bit of PP stone, He goes Crest eventually, which just gives me a bunch of bulks up, and he forfeits on turn 53. So yeah, good game. Able to win all 3 of my SS games. I used this team twice. It was pretty fun. I used a really fun rain team in another game. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if you enjoyed the video with the like. If you guys want to see more from this channel, be sure to subscribe. Only about 55 to 60% of you guys that watch these videos are actually subscribed. I'd love to make that 65 to 70% or even higher. So if we could get going, hit 6K real soon, that would be amazing. And on top of that, guys, if you guys have any thoughts on these teams, these games, or more, be sure to comment down below. I can even show you the replay links if you want to see them, or the replay links to other games in this tournament. But yeah, have a great day. And all right, yeah, that's it. Check out the YouTube, check out the Twitter, check out the Discord, etc. Peace, guys. Bye.